Hey y'all, see this little ball? This is actually clay. Hey guys, I'm back again. It's Saturday morning, and I hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday. 1 week till Christmas Eve today. So, is everybody ready for Christmas? Are you ready to enjoy it? Are you ready to get it over with and get on to the next thing? I mean, I love Christmas, but I'm actually starting to itch for the new year and starting getting into spring. But hey, I'm going to enjoy the Christmas holiday next weekend with my family, and I'm looking forward to that. And I hope everyone else is too. So I'm crafting with Kim. A lot of you ladies know that. I am actually, oh, Steph's already there in the house. So is Tammy. Hey, ladies, how are you doing this morning? Okay, so I'm going to try to make this one a little bit short today. I always say that, and then they kind of drag out. But I know that it's it's a weekend and it's a Saturday morning, and I don't like to keep people too long on a Saturday morning on the weekends. But I want to go ahead and put my Christmas music on actually and see if you can hear that. If you can hear it, let me know. I'd like to know if you can actually hear the music because I do make the effort to put it on. Um, okay, so here I am. I'm crafting with Kim. I am actually in the Painted Soul Creative Journey Day. Good morning, ladies. And we got a Facebook user from somebody. You know what? I forgot to pull up my darn phone again to see who that was. I was too busy fiddling around with something else. But Facebook user, if you could do me a favor, and I'm going to try to pull me up on the phone here so I can see comments for people who haven't actually subscribed yet. But Facebook user, if you see the post in Facebook there, it'll tell you to please interact with StreamYard, and um, it's a little blue link. If you just hit that link and follow the instructions, then I'll be able to see your name on the comments. Right now, I'm going to pull it up on my phone and see if I can see who it is. Let's see. Oh, Melanie. Melanie, the only one on here, and I don't know why you would be a Facebook user. Anyway, so I've got Steph, Melanie, and Tammy so far. All right, ladies, how's your morning going? Is it warm, cold? I mean, I imagine you guys are colder. Why am I asking you if it's warm? Because I'm hot. Here it's still another beautiful day in Florida. Okay, so let me get down to business with this thing. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a little fun nativity with, get my little guys pulled up over here. I'm not actually going to show you my finished piece. You know why? Because it's not finished. I didn't want to make three of the same thing in clay. So I basically took this picture. I'm going to show you. I actually pulled this reference from Pinterest, but mine's going to be a little different. I'm putting a little different take on it. And this one was actually done probably with ceramic clay. I'm going to be using polymer clay, but you'll be seeing that I'm going to be using, it's going to be the same principle of the design. I think it's such a pretty little nativity, very simple, but I love the way the arms go around with Joseph, and or to me, this is representation of the Father itself, Father Joseph and also Father God, and how they just encompass Mary and the baby. I thought that was really neat. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be doing a version of that. Okay. Oh, it's raining. Okay. Tammy says it's raining where she is. Boo hoo. It was raining a couple days here ago, but yeah, I don't know. I can handle a little bit of rain, but I think one of the reasons that I live in the Sun Belt is I'm very affected by weather. I forget what that's called, but honestly, if I go a couple of days without sunshine, I start getting really melancholy. I mean, does anybody else melancholy? Melancholy? That's the melancholy. Melancholy. I get kind of like blue. A couple of days are okay. It's kind of nice, but that's why I don't think I could live in snow country. I'd be holed up too much and things like that. So I like my sunshine. I like to be able to get out and enjoy the weather and whatnot. Okay. All right, guys. So here we go. I'm going to take you down below and show you what I got going on here. I got set up. Switch over my screen. Well, let me change that background back there so you don't see that flower design. I do that when I coming in on my live promo. Let's just do a black one. That way it looks a lot cleaner and easier to see. See, it's easier on the eye, right? All right, go back to my comments. Okay, Joni's there. Good morning, Joni. Hey, girl. You know, this is another little project you can learn with the clay. And remember, Joni just won a month's free membership into my Mud.Clay.Art membership group. So Joni, whenever you're ready to do that, you just let me know, and I'll get you in there, and we'll play around and do some fun stuff. And you can January, February is either one of those months are good if you want to join in then. Okay, so like I said, oh, what am I doing? Let me switch myself back over here. Okay, there we go. See the bigger picture here. All right, so what I did is I just basically created like a pattern. I kind of eyeballed a pattern. And then I bought a pattern for Joseph, like the bigger part, and then for Mary, I just, and then I just cut them out of my clay. I pre-rolled my clay. I went it through my pasta maker. I made it. What's with me today? I rolled it out nice and flat. I needed this to be a little thicker though, because this has to stand up, which I was actually interested to see if this would work with the polymer clay, if it would stand up on its own. And believe it or not, I was able to bake it in the oven standing. Surprisingly, so that's really great to know because it was thick enough to be able to hold its own, so to speak. So this is going to be Joseph. This is going to be Mary, and believe it or not, this little ball is going to be baby Jesus's cradle, I guess, or what you want to call it. His little yeah, I guess that's what you would call it, cradle. My husband is undergoing surgery on Monday, Joni says, waiting to see how things calm down. Okay, that's fine, Joni. That's great. Well, actually, I'm sorry about your husband having surgery, but I hope everything's going to be okay with him, and that, when you're ready, you just let me know. That's fine. Hey, Yvonne's here too. Yvonne's in the house. Hey, girly, how are you? All right, ladies. So, like I said, what I'm going to do is to do a little take on this, a little different take. I got some fun little tools from Amazon in the mail yesterday. I got a really cool roller that's coming that's got really awesome, like floral designs on it to do like a rolling pattern. But I also got these in the mail yesterday, and these are so darn cool. They're like mandalas. Not Mandela, Mandelas. How do you say that word? I don't know. It's not like Mandela. Anyway, I love these little flower designs. That's what I'm going to call them. And they're for stamps for using with ink, but they work really good with clay too. So I'm going to put a little design on this. Now, here's the deal. It's this, I want the design. You can put it anywhere. You don't have to do a design, but I like the design idea. It gives a little interest. I'm going to put it on the inside. What we're going to do is going to end up, this is kind of a weird perspective. I probably should have changed my camera to the side, but I'll turn it this way. So we're going to have it like this, and he's going to be like, his arms is representation of his arms going down this way. All right, so I want to put something, because this is what you're mainly going to see. You can put it on both sides. Yeah, aren't these pretty stamps? Melanie, I do not know why, but on my Facebook, you're coming up as, in StreamYard, you're coming up as Facebook user. I don't know why. I know I've seen you before, but maybe you could go click that little stream link again and see what's going on, or not. It's not a big deal. I got you on my phone too. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of do some stamping. I'm just going to press into this a little bit to get some image in here, because it's going to give it a little bit more interest. Okay. And the first time I've ever used these. So I'm using this really firm clay. Matter of fact, let me switch it over. I'm not really married to one particular idea. I'm just going to kind of layer it on top like a mixed media kind of thing. Oh, that one's really pretty. Yeah. But this clay is, let me show you. This is actually very firm clay. This is the Super Sculpey, and I like to work with it better because it does hold its shape better, and it doesn't stick to your fingers as much as the original white Sculpey. A lot of you ladies know I like to use this one, especially for something like this, because it's got to stand up and be a little bit more secure until it bakes, until it gets hard. So yeah, I'm just kind of using this little stamp guy. Let's see what we got going on here. Can you ladies see that? Is my light okay for that? Okay, anyway, does have some really cool little stamp designs in it. So I'm definitely going to play with those and make some really fun things. All right, so that's kind of what I wanted to do. And of course, you can do it on the back side too. This particular one, I'm not going to fire. This is just my sample. I've got my presenter's magic we're going to paint up in a few minutes, but I just kind of wanted to show you what you can do. And of course, if you don't have stamps, you can use stencils. Actually, the one that we're going to be painting up, I actually did use a stencil. I just rolled it out with my little brayer, the sprayer tool, and stencils work great for that. You can use any kind of like pasta and tools around your house to make impressions, beads and buttons and jewelry. Just make impressions in the clay. You can do a lot of really fun stuff. Melanie saying, "Oh, there you go, Melanie. Let's see if it shows me now." Yeah, what was going on? I don't know, but it does say it does have your name up now. Thank you, Mel. Oh, Melly's he's hiding out. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? You can be incognito if you want. I don't mind, as long as I know you're not trying to do anything weird behind the scenes to me. All right, I'm gonna put another little press on this. Like I said, I'm not really gonna fire this, so I don't even know why I'm bothering. So, okay. So, like I said, this is gonna be the inside. Now, what I need to do? Oh, you were ghosted. I got you. Okay. I got you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little lip, and actually, the easiest way to do it is just kind of roll it. I'm rolling it backwards. This is going to be to the back. It just needs a little bit of a lip. It doesn't need much. I hope I'm close enough for you ladies to be able to see. And by the way, I thought while we're working on this, I don't know how you ladies, the one thing about the nativity is that a lot of the things that we've been doing throughout the season have been very secular, and that's cool too. Everybody loves Santa and snowmen and all the good things related to Christmas, but we don't sometimes put as much effort on God and Jesus and giving him his kudos, because, well, and I'm going to get into that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get into a big theology discussion, but I had some interesting information that I kind of wanted to talk about with the nativity and stuff. And I wanted to know how people felt about that. If you don't want me to get into it, I won't. But, or if anybody has anything else to share about the nativity, the birth of Jesus and all that, we definitely can go that route. If not, we'll just sit here and chat about the holiday season and everything else. So, Leah, hey Leah, hi darling, how's your morning going? You've been knocking out them parties, haven't you? I've been seeing you've been doing a lot of paint parties. All right, so like I said, see how easy that is? That little guy just stands up just like that. That's pretty cool, huh? All I had to do is create that little bit of lip in the back and make it thick enough for it to stand. Now I'll play with it once I get Mary put together and get it set in there. So we got Joseph pretty much good to go. I have to make his head still, of course. That's just rolling a little bit of a ball. Okay, and here's Mary. Mary basically is kind of like an egg shape. I thought about doing her in more of, matter of fact, I'll show you Mary, the finished one. I thought about, here she is. I thought about doing her in a pinch pot, which is basically you get a ball of clay and then you start pinching it in the center. And that's what we're going to do with baby Jesus, but his cradle. But I realized that it's actually better just to form it like this after playing with it a little bit. So the best way I found is just to take it and start forming it a little bit. She's sort of like an egg, but we need her to stand up. So I'm going to kind of fold her, and make her, it's kind of like her shawl or her head covering or robe or whatever you want to call it. And then I found that if I kind of like pinch right here, kind of pinch these ends like that, it starts making it so, it's kind of like lifted up. And then from there, I can just sort of like form them, pinch it up to where we need it to be. You need to have it like a little bit of an edge, front edge on there so that the cradle sits in there. Nice. All right. And it does take a little bit of playing with the clay, but this is where the fun to me, the relaxation and the therapy comes in with that. Let's see, Leah's watching. I'm just trying to check on my comments while I'm doing this too. You ladies know when you're going live and you're trying to look at comments and you're trying to create and everything, it can be a little bit of a task. So I'm going to bring her up a little bit more, bring that front part up a little bit more. Okay. And then I'm just going to start molding this over here. It's kind of like I said, kind of like I'm turning this over. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm kind of turning it to where she's got like her shawls covering her head, so to speak. Okay. And like I said, it takes a. All right. So while I'm working on this, does anybody have anything to share about the Nativity? As far as what they know about the birth of Jesus. I mean, we all pretty much know the story, I would imagine, as far as where he was born, Bethlehem, and the manger and the stable, or whatever you want to call it. But does anybody know any actual facts about the timing and whatnot? Because most people that are Christians are pretty much told, as everybody is told, that his birthday is December 25th. And honestly, there's a lot of people out there that don't believe that there's actual, um, if you look at the timelines and you really study scripture, you can actually, it's a lot of yeah, Stephanie says it's a lot of multitasking for sure, especially when you're going by yourself and you're trying to do that. But yeah, as far as like Jesus and his birth and his birthday, does anybody have anything that they would like to share about that before I get into what I have discovered and believe? So Yvonne says, what type of clay do you use? I found modeling clay at Dollar Tree. Would that work? Honestly, Yvonne, I'm going to put this comment up so you can see it. Yvonne is asking, what type of clay do you use? Actually, you know what, Yvonne? You guys give me a second. I'm going to pull it up so you can see what it is. It's Sculpey. See, good thing I've got my earbud on because you guys can hear me if I walk away from the camera. Okay, so this is Sculpey. It is polymer clay. This is a particular type that I'm using that's called Super Sculpey. And it's really firm, and I like working with it better. I do work sometimes with the regular original Sculpey, which is white, and it's a little bit more sticky, and it doesn't hold together as well. It's better if you're doing like more slab or flat work. To answer your question, the modeling clay at the Dollar Tree, it's okay for some projects. You have to, number one, see if it's air dry. Some modeling clays they don't even dry. They actually stay in their form. They stay in their soft form. So that's number one. I have to find out, does it dry? You can do certain things with that particular clay, but it's not going to get you the quality of what you want to do when I do projects like this. So really your best is to use a polymer clay. It doesn't have to be Sculpey, but a lot of people just go to Sculpey because it works. It just works really well. And that's what you see a lot of people do, the polymer jewelry and the caning and all that sort of thing. I mean, maybe one day I'll get into like a little bit of a jewelry class with you guys if you want to do jewelry. I know Steph's a big jewelry person. I don't really wear a lot of jewelry anymore. I've got things, but I don't know. I buy them and then they just kind of sit around. I wear the same old stuff over and over again. Anyway, so this is basically what we're going for as far as Mary. It's kind of like just a little bit of, and you kind of manipulate it a little bit as you start working with it and you get the cradle in there. So Yvonne, I hope that answers your question. Let me take this off. So you can get that Dollar Tree clay just to kind of play around with, but usually it's drier and it's either going to be real dry and it'll be crumbly, or it's sticky and a little, depending on what kind of clay it is too. If it's not polymer clay, then it's going to be kind of funky to use. That's all I got to say. I'm not a fan. It's good for kids stuff, making little fun projects and making more, like I said, more flat projects, which are, like a slab of clay like this. If you're just rolling it out and it's flat, I mean, this is, you roll it out, and this is actually called slab when it's just like a flat piece and you put impressions and you can do things. And, that it's okay for that kind of stuff. If you do anything that's dimensional or that has to stand up on its own right there, it ain't going to work. I'm just telling you, you'll be really frustrated with it. So there you go. All right. So basically I've got the little shape of Mary here, her little robe, and she's going to sit inside him like that. Okay. No, like I said, I should have put the side angle on my camera today instead of the top view, but you can kind of get an idea like that so far. Okay. And, I kind of played around with mine a little bit. I went in there and cleaned her up. And, with the clay, especially with this stuff, I'm telling you, this firm clay is beautiful. You can put your finger in there and you can really smooth it with your fingers. There's these tools like this. These are like silicone tools. Okay. And you can take these. Oh, that's the wrong one. To grab the wrong one, Kim. You get a flat one. These little flat guys. Let me get in the camera. All right. And then you can actually just work it like that. And these work to smooth. And I don't know. I just love the feel of the clay in my hands. It's kind of soft and smooth, and and it's relaxing, and it's fun to kind of mess around with. All right, kids really love it too. But the thing about it is more. I think more adults are not used to working with clay, and kids love it. But hey, Tomato, it's Lena. I know, but I just wanted to call you Tomato. How you doing, Tomato? All right, this might be a project you want to. Well, it's a little bit past Christmas now. But if you want to try this with the kids, this would be something the kids could probably do too. Lena, by the way, it teaches art she's an art teacher, and she works with clay sometime with the kids. So this is a little fun project. Anyway, so we've got Joseph, we've got Mary. You guys can see that. All right. And like I said, I'll turn him around a little bit more like that so we can see him once we get it on. All right. And then now we need to do Jesus. So in his little guy. And the best way I did that is I kept having to take my clay off because I had too much, and he only needs a little bit, like this little small ball. And I am going to do like a pinch pot design with it. I'm just basically, like I said, you can actually, people make full on vases and pots with this pitch pot method, believe it or not. When you're using ceramic clay, they do it. I've seen it on the pottery wheel and everything. They actually pinch it and pinch it and pinch it. And then actually they get our shape up and they smooth it around and they make a whole dang bowl or vase just by doing this pinch pot method. It's pretty darn cool. All right. So anyway, but I'm just using this little guy, right here to make his little cradle. He doesn't have to be very big. Of course, you have to make sure he's going to fit inside there. And what I did is I just sort of like pulling it and making like a little bit more of a point at the top. You guys see that? And I got to make sure he's going to fit inside Mary. I have to kind of play with that idea. I think he fits in there pretty good. He's pretty good. All right. He could make a little smaller, but just, bear in mind, like I said, all this is going to be, you're going to want to put this in your oven. Once you get it to where you want it, you're going to put it in the oven for 270. Well, for this one, I usually do about 30 minutes at 275. All right, so there we've pretty much got the three, body representations. Now we're going to do some heads, and the heads are easy. Okay, Yvonne was saying thank you. I've never bought it, but I've seen it. Like I said, I mean, it's not bad to go play with. You could do simple things like ornaments, and even if you wanted to do, like I said, flat pieces and put impressions on them, and then paint them up. If it does dry, if it's an air dry clay, you can paint them up, and then you can actually add it to canvases and do mixed media. It's really something you can do. Debbie, hi Debbie, how are you? It's good to have you here. I am through StreamYard, and right now it's saying you are a Facebook user. It doesn't actually say your name. I just have to have my phone pulled up. So Debbie, if you can look at the post above this tutorial and hit that little blue StreamYard link and then get yourself set up, then you'll already be set up on StreamYard for the future too. Everybody who does StreamYard will be able to see you. But thanks, Deb, for popping on. You got any questions? I'm building this little nativity. Now, basically, all I did was just roll some balls. When I roll the balls myself, I mean, you can roll them two ways. You can roll them on your surface like that. I actually find for me, I get a better round. It becomes more round to me when I do it in the palms of my hand. I think it's because I have a curve. You have the curve in your palm of your hand, or maybe I press it a little bit too hard when I do it. But usually it's generally like a light press, and you just kind of lightly roll. Okay. Would this work? This will probably work as Mary's. Okay. Now with this one, I'm just gonna press it down in there. Let me see if I can get it so you guys can see it. Press it like that, and then I'm kind of doing this number here because I want it to be like her shawl, or like I said, robe covering her head. And there you go. We got a little shape going on. See how easy that was? Okay. And then so we got Mary. And here's the thing with Mary and all the pictures is that I found that I have to put my finger inside it like this, all right, or my thumb, and or actually when it's just kind of you have to. I'm trying to do it this way. You have to kind of pounce it down because you need to make sure she stands up on her own. The first one I made is a little bit heavier with the clay in the back, and I could not get her to stand up, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to end up gluing her all to as one piece, and she's going to be hanging out, leaning up against Joseph, so she'll be all right. But you do want to make that flat surface. So the best way to do is you can just do like a little tap, tap, tap like that and get that flat surface. So she'll sit up. So if you just want to leave her separate, see she's starting to fall, you have to kind of lean her this way forward. Okay. And then she should stay. And then Jesus gives a little extra weight inside there too. So this one's actually maybe a little bit big as far as the thickness of it, but it'll work for now just for the tutorial. All right. So anyway, even if your Mary does start, there you go, Debbie. Now I can see you on the StreamYard. We use polymer clay in our kids class. We have to make these. Okay, you said you've made something like this before. Is that what you're saying? Awesome. So anyway, if Mary like tends to topple like that, it doesn't matter because in this particular design, she's going to be like cradled up next to Joseph anyway, or the father, whatever. And so she's going to sit right in there just nice. And I'm going to actually glue all mine together in the end when I'm finished with it. So we got Mary, we got Joseph. Now Joseph's head, he's right on that edge there. He's sitting right on top of that edge. So, he's a little bit funky, and I think this is going to be too big of a head, Kim. We don't need to make him a big head. He doesn't have to be a big head. So how's everybody doing? You guys ready for Christmas? Tell me what's going on. Everybody got all their Christmas shopping done? I basically got like two things. Well, two things are like Amazon. You click and gift certificates. That's easy. And then I got to run out today and get another little something for my honey. That's so funny. How are your men when it comes to shopping for you? Mine is funny. Like he asked me questions. He's literally at the store. Ma, do these makeup brushes? What kind of makeup brushes did you want? Is it a brush or is it like a foamy thing? I'm like, are you at the store shopping for me right now? I'm like, really? You're asking me this question. Okay, so anyway, I'm just curious. Oh, that's what I need to do today is finish your shopping. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I just got to run out. Okay, so Joseph's head. I'm going to move Mary out of the way for a second. Okay, actually lay her down. Joseph's head, like I said, he's sitting right on that edge, and that's a little bit precarious right there. So, though I was actually going to, is that his head big enough? I think it's pretty big. I can make it a little bit bigger, but I was thinking two methods. This has to be baked and dried, and so I had it sitting on here when it's in its sticky form. You can kind of press it. I actually made like a little small, like a very light and flat spot right there, and then you can just sort of sit on there and you can press him on. But I thought, he pretty much stays, and you could probably bake him like that. But I thought maybe he might be a little bit shaky as far as like, because things do stick together pretty good when they're baked. And you can use the glue. Where did I put that? I think I put that away. Sorry guys, I'll show you this. This is Sculpey glue, and I've showed this before, but it's basically looks like Elmer's glue, but it's what you use with polymer clay, and you just put a little dab on there, and it sticks, and you bake it together. Okay, but in this case, it's a little bit wet in the beginning, and trying to get his head to stay on there with the glue. It kept sliding off of me, and I'm like, you know what? I'm doing something a little bit different anyway. So I literally kept his head detached. I just left it off, and you'll see that in a second. And then what I'm gonna do is after I'm done with all my painting on it, I'm gonna hot glue him on there, and he'll be nice and firm. He'll stay on there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So we got Joseph, okay, and then we got Mary, and then we're gonna slide Jesus in there. Of course, it's just another little ball for his head. Says Brian is good at shopping for me. I guess he listens more than he should. Well, yeah, I think that's one of the problem with Robert. Yeah, I love the man, but he don't listen. I don't know. You guys have good husbands that listen. I don't know about this one. Sometimes I don't know. You know, the thing about it is, he pretends he doesn't listen, but I guess he listens more than I think he does because he surprises me sometimes. I'm like, oh, you were actually listening? You weren't over there watching a movie when I and going, uh-huh. All right. So anyway, so there we go. See, we got little baby Jesus inside there with Mary. Of course, you can sit it in there any way you want. Okay. And there, and oops, sorry. Kind of leaning. Like I said, this is a better version for you guys to be able to see it. Okay. And it does set up and it will be. And like I said, now we're going to switch to the presenter's magic. And I've got my one that I've already fired up for you ladies so you can see how I'm going to paint it up. All right, so there you go. And that's how you do it. Any more questions about polymer clay or anything, by all means, you know, reach out to me. And I didn't even mention this for the folks that are not have not necessarily watched me before, which I have a couple newbies. I'm going to switch my screen over for a second. I have a membership group on Facebook. It's called Mud.Clay.Art, and it is a polymer clay membership where I teach. To get my cursor out of my face there, Kim. Where I actually teach people how to work with polymer clay. Um, and we do all kinds of monthly projects, and I have choice members choice projects and members we do like giveaway. I do giveaways and stuff with people for like the best one and that kind of stuff, so it's a lot of fun and you learn a lot about working with polymer clays. And so if you're interested in that, let me know. Right now until the end of December it's only $15. I'm going to bump it up to 18 in January. But it is, there's a lot of really cool projects in there. I do some fun whimsical stuff, but we also do some functional things that you can actually use in your home. And then I also let the members kind of like come to me and say, hey, I'd like to try this, I'd like to make this and all that. And I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try. So it's really a fun group to it's a fun membership to be inside. Like I said, it's called Mud.Clay.Art. Contact me if you're interested in that. All right, now enough about that. Let's get back to this. Oh, did I switch over? It didn't go. It is pretty. All right, you think it looks good now, Stephanie? Wait to. Oh, you would love to join. Okay, Debbie, I will send you the information on that, and when we're done here, and you can get in on that. Okay, now here is my. I'm going to bring this over. I guess I'll just bring the whole tray over. Like I said, I've just found these fabulous little stamps, and I can't wait to get my roller. Like it's probably in the mailbox right now because it said it was going to come between 10 and 11 a day, and I'm like, dang! And it's a really beautiful, like ornate floral roller, you know, for rolling out clay. And you can do it, like I said, to me, polymer clay is kind of like using fondant, you know, working with that. I've never actually worked with it, but I've seen enough videos to know that that's pretty much that's what it feels like. You know, especially when you're doing the long slabs and you can drape and things like that. And that's what polymer clay is kind of like representation of. Okay, so now the painting. I've mentioned a couple of times how you can actually paint polymer clay. You could paint the polymer clay in its, I've already kind of squished them up already. You can actually paint the polymer clay in its raw form. I mean, before it's fired, you could put paint on this. I'm using acrylic paints, just basic acrylic paints, craft paints, and you can paint it all up. The thing about it is if you're going to paint it, make sure you don't do a lot of bending with it because it's painting on the surface and you'll see like little fold marks underneath it. But if it's just a flat item or something and it's not going to move, then you can definitely paint it beforehand and it will bake in that. And here's another method that you can do too. You can, let me see, that's no good. You can actually add the acrylic paint to the polymer clay before you bake it as well, before you put them. As an example, see, here's my little gingerbread girl. I finished her. This was from our tutorial. I got a little hot glue. I had to glue her hair on. Um, but I did this little girl on our Wednesday night group with the ugly sweater and everything. But her hair, I didn't want to have to paint the hair because it's a pain in the rear. So I've got this little guy, this little tool that makes the hair strands like this. But I went ahead and I pre-colored the clay. I just squirted a little bit of colored clay into the polymer in like a little ball. And it's good to wear gloves if you want to and mess it around and get the color in there. And then I just squirted it through my little guy and got her color. So you don't have to paint it. And I baked it like this. And this is how it came out. So it's pretty cool. Okay. And those stamps are pretty. Yes, Lena. This says, do you have some finished items to show when you're done? Yeah, well, I just showed this one, but yeah, I'll have a lot of pieces that I can show. If you go back to Yvonne to my Crafting with Kim business page, you'll see a lot of my tutorials on there, and I post everything I do that's on there. Yeah, she did turn out cute. The hair definitely made it, didn't it, Tammy? I mean, I looked at her ball, that little ball. I'm like, man, she looks, she looks like a ooh, cancer gingerbread. She needs some hair. So I put some hair on her. Okay, now back to this guy. And Yvonne, yes, darling, I will post some other pictures. I mean, I got a lot of things behind me, but I don't want to start pulling that out because it'll take too much time. But I'll post some other pictures. Like I said, if you go to my Crafting with Kim, or I'll send you some individually if you're interested. Okay. All right. So back to this. So this is actually baked. Believe it or not, you can lightly see a stencil design in there, but see, it's got like this funky little texture, but you really don't see that until you start painting it, which is what we're going to do now. It's going to start popping. All right, so I'm going to paint Joseph, and I did something a little bit different here. I'm not going to do this, but I'll do it when I finish it. I put a little bit. Can you guys see that? Yeah, okay, you can. There's a little border line going around this one, and I kept the border line there like that because what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the Matthew 1:12 scripture right up in here, and that's going to and the Matthew 1:1 excuse me. No, Matthew 1:21, and she shall bring forth a son, and he will be called Jesus. So I'm going to write that in there. I'm going to Sharpie after I'm all done and write it in there nice and neat. That'll take some time, so I'm not going to do that here. But that's why I wanted to keep that little border area there. I thought that'd be kind of neat to add. All right, so now I'm going to show you how I'm doing this. There's a zillion ways you can paint these guys. I like to do it where it kind of gives it a little bit more of a distressed look. So now also too, I brought some cosmetic sponges over. Sometimes I just dab a little bit with the sponge, and sometimes I use my brush. Let me get my paints over here. I got my water and my rag. So the colors I'm going to be using is I'm kind of on a metallic kick lately. I kind of go in and out of metallics. I'm going to do some metallics. However, what I noticed that I like to paint metallics, I like to do a base color first with metallics because they're so transparent and it makes it pop a little bit more to me. So with Joseph, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do him in blue tones. And then Mary's going to be in like a white pearly, and then little baby Jesus will be blue as well. And I'm thinking the blue because they're kind of representation of boys, males. And then she's white because like purity and whatnot. And so that's kind of how I'm doing that idea. All right, so we'll see how it rolls. Now, what I'm going to do first is I need to put a little bit darker blue as my base on here. So I'm just using like this. Believe me, this one's ate up. It's cobalt blue. It's just an old cobalt blue I got. And I'm just adding a little bit of that on there. I think I need more than that, Kim. I always just so like crazy about not using paint too much. All right, I like to water it down somewhat too, so it's not fully on there. I'm being a little bit careful because I've got that border and I want that border to stay white. So I'm using this watered down. Like I said, just make a little bit of a hot mess on it. Going across that area there, because like I said, I'm going to keep that in a white tone. I don't know, you guys think those colors might come out nice? Oh, you like the ginger? You like the ginger girl? Like I said, I was the one that made a ginger girl when we did our little live the other day. I figured, you know what? Well, you know what inspired the whole thing, honestly, is that somebody saw a post I made. I was at Walmart and I saw this funky, like ugly gingerbread sweater dress. And I took a picture of it and I posted it. I'm like a gingerbread sweater dress. I've never seen that before. And it was so funny. And it inspired me to actually make my gingerbread girl from that. Isn't that funny where we get our inspirations from? So that's why I came up with the idea of doing the gingerbread because I knew we were going to be doing gingerbread in our thing. Now you can, kind of leave this, or I'm just going to kind of take a little bit of it off so it's not so. I want it to kind of give it that like aged look a little bit. I don't want it to be too heavy. And then sometimes I throw a little bit of brown umber on there too, but I think I'll do that at the end once I put my other coat on. Because what I'm going to do, this is my base coat. This is actually kind of cool in itself, and you could leave it like that. It's not bad, but I'm going to put the metallic on top. I'm putting this guy here. It's like an ice blue metallic, and I'm going to put that on top of it and kind of age that down. And so for the white part, for Mary, and I'll do the back too. I won't do the back right now with you guys, but I am going to do the back of it. Now for Mary, what I'm going to do is like a white pearl metallic, but I'm going to start with this cream. I'm going to put a little bit of this cream on there first. Sometimes I actually just paint out of the darn, to me, I like just painting out of the, anybody else do this? They actually paint out of the cap. All right, so yeah, I'm just going to paint her all one color pretty much. I could have left her head detached as well, but you know, it did kind of, I needed to sort of press it in a little bit to kind of make it so she's covered up her head. And I didn't want to, and gives it one, and I didn't want to try to put that ball in there afterwards. So that's why I went ahead and secured her in there. And I did put a little bit, a touch of the Sculpey glue in there when I did her head. So she'd stay in there nice and firm. That stuff works like a champ, let me tell you. So once again, I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting out of the camera, I guess. I'm just kind of, this one's going to be a little bit messy on my hands, but it's all right. I'm used to having messy hands. Does anybody have a problem with having messy hands? When you're working with paint and crafting, yeah, it comes with a territory, right? All right. So I'm just putting like a real quick light paint coat on her. You can sponge her, give her some texture if you want, kind of give it a little prettier texture. But this is going to be I'm going to go over this, like I said, with the, hello Kim, with the pearl white. Pearl white's going to go over this. But I wanted to get this white base coat on her first. And this one, I have to do a little bit more of the white on there. I mean, I have to really, you can see my fingerprints, my marks, but it's really not going to matter that much because I'm doing like a couple coats on top of this. I love messy hands. It means we are creating. Absolutely, girlfriend. All right, so yeah, I got the inside there, the inside. All right, so I might have to mute for a second and get this stuff dried up, but we'll see how it goes. I got that one. And like I said, she don't want to stand up. I made her too heavy on the bottom here, and I realized that was my error. That's why I was telling you to make sure if you decide to do something like this, you can feel it. You can get a play for it. And, you know, you want to make her so that she'll stand up. But I am going to attach her inside like this so that she stays, you know, upright, of course. All right. So the bottom is really not that important because Jesus is going to sit in there, but, you know, you still want to paint it because it'll be kind of funky. All right, so I'm kind of go with that right now. I might have to put a little extra darkness on there, but I think I'll be all right for now. Now for Jesus, I'm going to do the blue again. I'm going to kind of water it down. Like I said, I like it to be a little bit wet, especially when I'm working with the polymers. It just gives it more of a cool effect. You know, if you don't want that effect, then you don't do that effect. That's all. This is actually too wet though, Kim. Duh. You got to have it enough to where it'll actually stick on there, right? You know, it's not like canvas. It's a very smooth surface. It's not really a porous surface. So you gotta get it enough on there so it will stick. But I just want a really, really rough paint on it right now. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself for a second, ladies, and then I'll be right back because I got to get this stuff dry so I can finish it up. Y'all hear that Christmas music now? I was told that once I mute, you can hear the Christmas music better. All right, let's see now. Hot glue gun. I'm gonna put you over here because you're kind of up in my way. And put this back over here. I don't mind a messy space, but I got to be somewhat organized when I do this. Otherwise, I feel like I'm just getting too much clutter going on. All right, so here we go. We've got the first coat here. Like I said, I will do the back coat on my own, but I will do him blue as well. What I need to do though, Kim, duh, is I need to paint this little border edge right here. I need to do that in this white. I'm just winging this. I didn't like pre-do it or anything. I'm just hoping I just visually did this in my head. So hopefully these colors will come out okay. I keep forgetting people are trying to watch me. So like I said, anybody got any facts about the birth of Jesus and they would like to talk about that a little bit? Or is that something that people don't want to mess with? I mean, I don't know why I want to mess with it. I'm not shy about talking about God at all. And anybody that's a believer, I don't think should be. You love metallics? Yes, I do too, Yvonne. I absolutely love metallics. I go, like I said, I go back and forth with metallics. I get on these kicks where I'll do metallic things for quite a while, and then I'll switch off and start doing something else. But yeah, and then of course those shift colors. Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother can of worms, a whole nother ball game right there. And I got a couple of those. I consider doing the shift colors on this. God dang it, Kim! I keep looking at, I keep bringing it up to me. I gotta put it so you guys can see it. Yeah, I've been doing the shift colors, playing with those a little bit too, and they are so neat, especially on the polymer clay. They look really good. I didn't research anything or talk about it. Oh, you mean as far as like, oh, I love you? Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me tell you a little bit what I know. And like I said, I'm not trying to, get on anybody's theology or anything like that. But for a couple of years, I actually attended a messianic congregation. Anybody know what a messianic congregation is? It's actually a congregation. It's a Jewish tradition. They call them synagogues, but they believe in Jesus. And I think that's as cool as ever. That's like the best you can get, because hey, Jesus was Jewish and the disciples and everything. So I learned about the Jewish customs and the holidays and the Saturday Sabbath and all that stuff, and it was just so rich to me. It just really enhanced my walk with God because I learned like the culture of the things that they did back then, and that they still do back then. But in the Bible, I mean, that's what they did. They followed those customs, and I mean, wasn't we weren't doing the like all of the we believed in Jesus, so there wasn't all of the rules and regulations and things that you had to do with the sacrifices. But basically, it's about the feast, Passover, Yom Kippur, and then Hanukkah and things like that. So it's a mix of both. That you would have the Jew and Gentile in the same place worshiping, and it was pretty cool. They had the Torah, they would read from the Torah, and they would have it was just cool. A lot of dancing. It was very, very lively environment. And I really liked it. I don't really know why I'm not doing that anymore. I just, I was brought up sort of like in Baptist, but now I'm basically going to a charismatic church that I've been going to for a while here in DeLand. But the point being is that as far as when it comes to the Christmas, and I'll leave that for a little bit because that's got to dry. Um, about Jesus is, does anybody realize that some people believe, and I like I said, I'm not stepping on anybody's toes or anything, that Jesus was actually not born in December 25th. I mean, I actually believe that because if you do the timelines and study scripture when things happened, it's pretty much is evident that he was born because they were basically in Sukkot. I know that they got called to do the census into Bethlehem, that's why they went, but it was also during the time of Sukkot. And Sukkot is like Feast of Tabernacles, where they all go gather and they build the big sukkahs and you sit out, and it's kind of like the remembrance of, when they had nothing coming out of Egypt. And so, am I getting a little bit deep here? I mean, if you guys don't want me to talk about this, I won't, because I can get off on this for a bit. But anyway, long story short is they said that a lot of people believe that they traveled during that time because number one, it would be a little bit warmer, that they're not going to travel in the snow or the cold weather. It wouldn't have been that cold back then. And number two, it was during that period of time, which would make sense because that's why they were, I mean, they were doing the census, but also why there were so many people in Bethlehem is because they were having all these people because of there was Sukkot going on, you know. So you can see now as I put that metallic over top, how it just makes it just so much richer and it just brings it out, brings it to life. So yeah, that's kind of what I know about that. There's also some evidence related to, you know, John the Baptist, John the Immerser, when he was born 6 months before. And if you look about him, he was normally born when they believe he was born. Doesn't really say, but you know, and they have a Jewish calendar. Their calendar was a little different than this calendar, than our Gregorian calendar. So, and I put up like a little soft uh, pounce on it there with that. It made it, I think it's pretty. You guys like that? Yeah, isn't it pretty? Okay. So then, so when he was born, it was about in the early spring sometime. So that's why they're guesstimating if Jesus was born 6 months after that, then it was about in the fall. It wasn't really in the, you know, in December month. Another thing that I know about December 25th is that Constantine was the Roman emperor back then, and he became a believer, but he was also had a lot of pagan stuff going on in his upbringing. So, and from what I hear is that he wanted to get some of the pagan people to maybe worship Jesus, so he decided to change the Jesus birthday date to December 25th because December 25th is the winter solstice. Okay, there we go. So, you know, that's what I know about that. Does anybody else want to pipe in about anything of that nature? But see how that shines up so pretty with that blue. And if you hadn't have put that blue underneath, you wouldn't get that richness of it. I mean, it would just it gives it a little bit more dimension, I think, is when you do it that way. I don't even know why I'm painting the bottom of it. You're not going to see the bottom. Habit, I guess. All right, so that was going to be pretty. I'll just kind of leave that like it is right now. It's just a very light coat. You don't even need that much on it. Can I see the pattern too? Are you talking about, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, darling. Yeah, see the pattern? Now, I'm thinking that I'm going to, after I'm done with this, see how it's pretty it is? And that dark blue under there helps that, but I think I might put a little touch, just a very, very slight touch of the watered down umber on there, a little bit of brown, because it just kind of gives it more of an aged effect. If I don't like it, I'll wipe it off, but it's kind of pretty on its own like that. But see, now you can see the pattern, how the pattern comes out. Okay, so we got Jesus, we got that, we got Joseph over here. Now let's do Mary. I might have to put a little bit darker coat on her with the cream. We'll see how the white pops on that. So if it doesn't pop too much, I'll go ahead and add some more cream on her real quick. Yeah, the burnt umber, I do that a lot, honestly, a lot, Deb, is I'll take the burnt umber, I'll water it down and just a little slightest touch and kind of mix it with my color, and you'll get a really neat color blend. If it's not metallic or, you know, if it's metallic, I got a booger on my paint. Sorry about that, guys. If it is metallic, then I usually do the metallics first and then put that on top real lightly because the metallics with the burnt umber, they don't really blend too well. All right, we'll see what we got here with Mary. Oh, she's looking pretty good. She could pop a little bit more. Honestly, I need some more paint in here, Kim. I consider myself a paint Nazi. I'm really conservative about my paint. I can't stand like when I do a paint party and there's like all this paint sitting on the on the palettes or the plates or whatever, and nobody's used the paints, and I'm like, ooh, I want to use that paint for something. Put it back in my jar. You guys do that? I literally sometimes, like if I didn't use it, that's a whole big blob. I'll like scrape it back in my thing. I don't know. Is that really anal, guys? Oh, white pearl would be pretty on Mary. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. See, I'm doing the white pearl on her. Yeah, and yeah. So I want to know if anybody else is conservative about their paints besides me. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a fanatic when it comes to my paints. I don't like wasting anything. I'm the same thing with food though. I don't like wasting food. Once again, I really don't have to do the back of Mary because, you're not going to see her back, especially on this one. I mean, if she was going to be freestanding, then you definitely want to do her back. But in this case, she's not, she's going to be like glued in right up next to Joseph. So I don't really need to paint her back. Matter of fact, I'll lay her down on her back. That looks pretty cool too. Actually, my hands are going to get dirty, but it's okay. See this pearl? It's kind of nice. I might need to get a little touch in there. Let me go ahead and, you know what, I do need to get a little touch in there. And then I'm going to mute myself and blow again. I am curious if anybody has any thoughts on what I said about the dates in the birth of Jesus. Has anybody get any ideas on that? Anybody know that about December 25th and his birthday? And actually, the Magi, the three wise men, did not come at his birth. They came a couple years after. He was a couple years old before that happened. That all didn't happen at the same time. The shepherds came that night when they saw the star. The Magi saw different, and it was a different time. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and mute myself for a second, and I'll be right back. Okie dokie, I'm back. Okay, so I think these are dry enough. Let's just kind of see. Look at this thing, this piece. I'm gonna take this off here, guys. Sorry, I'm gonna have a little shiny on you. But I usually paint on those pizza round cardboards because I don't want to get my silicone. I've got a silicone mat down here and I don't want to get it nasty. I use that with my clay. So yeah, anyway. So I've got my little pizza, and this is what I bake the polymer on anyway. And I pulled this up because Debbie says at home she never wastes paint. But yeah, paint parties, oh my Lord, girlfriend, they are just like all over the place. Oh, I get kind of anxiety about my paint. All right, so let's kind of see how this is out going to look together before I go any further. I think it's going to be kind of neat. I'm going to put him this way. All right, and I got to get Joseph's head on still. I just realized I got to paint his head. I got to paint Joseph's head, and then I'm going to put his head on here. I think that's about it right there. That looks pretty, doesn't it? Oops, get him in the camera. Yeah, I'll paint his head blue. And like I said, I'm going to get that little scripture and run it around the edge here because they'd be kind of neat too. I am going to add a little touch of brown so you guys can see how that ages down a bit. I'm going to go ahead and paint Joseph's head though, so we can kind of get him on there. So by the way, where is Debbie? Where are you from? I know where some of the other girls are from, but you're kind of new to me. So I'm curious where you're from, darling. And Yvonne, I forgot where you're from too. Are you Floridian? I'm from Florida. I live here in Florida. Nice and beautiful winter weather. That's the way I love it. Okay, I'm just kind of patted that down. I didn't want it to be once again. I just took my towel and got messy hands now. But yeah, I just went ahead and just kind of took my towel and took some of that paint off. You want to make one now? Well, hey, now you know how to do it. Get you some, make sure though, if you're going to use the Sculpey, get that super Sculpey, this beige Sculpey. That's the one you want to work with. Debbie, if you want, like I said, you're interested in my group, whatnot, but also I have set up a like a wish list page of certain things. I mean, I go different places to buy things, but I found some decent prices for the polymer clay. Amazon's got one place that I get it, and there's a couple other places too. So I can shoot you that if you're interested, and you can see, um, where I get some of my goodies. All right, now let me take this, going to do this. And like I said, if it looks a little bit too funky, I'll just wipe it right off. But I think I'm going to like it because I've done this quite a few times before. Let me just, I think I'm going to do it with my brush instead of let me try it with the brush. I'm just going to try a little bit here. And all I'm doing is just taking, let me get my water over here, taking a little bit of water, just the slightest bit, and it might even be too much on here. And I'm sort of just more, do it on Jesus and see how it goes. Kind of dabbing it on there. That might be a little bit too wet, Kim. Kind of give him just a little bit of an aged effect. I know it looks weird right now, but, and then I'm patting him down. Oh, trying to get in the camera. Too many things going on here. All right, so I'm kind of patting him down. Okay. Now, do we like this effect or not? I mean, I can just move in. I can actually, you know, it might be better with the sponge, Kim, because the sponge is going to get in the little crevices. Now, do you like that look? It just kind of took it down a little bit and gave it a little bit more of an aged effect. I think I kind of like it. It's just very light, but it's enough to kind of give it a little bit like in the crevices and looks like it's a little bit worn. I think I'm going to leave it. Yeah, I like that look. I'm getting a lot of hearts on that, so I guess that's a good thing. All right, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm finding that the sponge works really good for that. So I'm going to do the same thing with Mary. We'll try the white and see how it goes. And I'm just barely touching it a little bit here and there. Kind of take it down just a little. I just think it gives a little bit more depth to it when you do it this way, as far as adding. And of course, you know, when you're using three-dimensional, you want to try to get up in those crevices if you can, because that's where it's going to look more aged. Okay, see, it kind of just ages it down a little bit more. I think that's kind of cool. All right. All right, let's see. Do I have any more on my thing before I have to go dipping again? I think that's pretty good right there. I just really, really like touch. All right. All right, so that's good on that one. And then we'll do Joseph real quick, and then we'll be able to pretty much put them together. That's it. Not too much. Okay. Still got to get his head on there. I got to attach his head, girl. All right, so once again, just a little bit on there, putting a little bit of water. Now the sponge definitely works better on this one. I'm going to do it on here too. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put my, it's okay. See, I did forgot to put the pearl white right here. And if you don't use pearl white, you can see the effect you get like that too. Once again, use your fingers, play around with it. But it's okay. I have to put the white on top of that as well. It's not, you know, it's not going to hurt anything that I did it this way first. And you can go back and add because the white will just look really nice on top of that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there. Do my white real quick. And then I will assemble it together. And I'm going to use my handy dandy. Oh, look at that. I just got blue all over my hand, guys. My handy dandy early Christmas present. Miss Stephanie Brooks told me about hers, and I had to go get one. Well, my honey got me one. A recordless Ryobi hot glue gun. It's a bomb. Love it. All right. So there. All right, like I said, I'll get that back painted up later on. I got to get this paint off my hand before I make a mess all over the place. I did that. I swiped on that blue. All right, so we're going to pretty much leave that right now. And I want to get it put together. I can actually paint his head once I get it on there. I want to get his head put on so we can see what it all looks like as one piece. Actually, I'm going to clean that off a little bit. I think that's not so dry on that edge there because I got to hot glue that. All right, so we're going to set her in there like that. Maybe I won't hot glue it right this minute with you guys, but because you're going to be able to see and get the idea of what it looks like because I'll position it the way I want it. All right, so I got it like that. And then I am going to go ahead and put his head on, though. Let's see. I'll pull him away, lay there down. And I'll put the hot glue. Now, does anybody have one of these little puppies? This really awesome cordless hot glue gun. Let me put my camera up a little bit more so you can see. I've got one of these. Just I love this thing. I've been using it in the classroom with the kids. I mean, I keep it away from them, but it's so nice to just be able to just, you know, walk around the room with a dang glue gun instead of having to go to a station. Trying to find my little flat spot on his head there because I did that. Remember I showed you how to make a little bit of flat spots so he sits a little bit better. And then I'm going to get him on there. This thing, like I said, I love this hot glue gun though. It works really great. It's super darn hot though. You got to be very careful. You will burn your fingers, let me tell you. Is that even? I got to look at it from my perspective for a second. I got a big drip on there too. I'm going to have to clean that up, but that's no big deal. I'll just wait till it dries. I'm doing pretty good on time. I just got like about a little over an hour. That's not too bad. There we go. I want to get that drip off right there. I can't do that. I'm going to burn my finger. So there you go. I've got Joseph on there with his head now. And like I said, once I get my scripture, I'm going to write the scripture in there real nice around that edge. And then I'll be able to put them all together. And there we go. I think it came out pretty cool. What do you guys think? You like it? Okay. Oh, Tammy, are you saying that you do have one of these? I know you do. Actually, I saw you on one of your presentations. When I saw you and Stephanie with those, I was like, "What is that thing? I've never seen one of those." Anyway, yeah, here we go. We've got our little nativity, our little contemporary funky nativity. I think it's kind of neat. Of course, when I get it totally finished, I'll put a picture of it. I'll post it out and so you guys can see. But you got the general gist of the idea. All right. Do we have any more questions about that? Let me go back over here. She's like, great nativity. Thank you, honey. I really thought it was cute too. And I wasn't sure about the coloring, but now that I've got it done and I get a really good photograph of it, it does look really pretty. It does. It looks nice. And I'm glad I chose those colors. And to me, like I said, it was a representation of the blue as a male, male blue. And then the white with Mary, being purity and whatnot. So that's kind of where I was going with that, with the coloring. Okay. Love this project so much. Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. I appreciate all you ladies that took the time out this morning to come on and hang out with me. And, I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And Christmas is coming up next weekend. I hope it's all going to be great for you as well. And I will see. I guess I'm not doing anything probably until after Christmas, but I'll be seeing everybody else that is doing stuff before then. And I love you guys, and I will see you later. Bye bye.